Nebraska number 16 this week in the college football playoff rankings, but a win today would certainly boost their long shot hopes to play in the first college football playoff. Hard to understand how they dropped 3 spots from 13 to 16 while they were idle last week. Here in Madison on a frigid day, 26 degrees. It isn't going to go up much beyond that. Luckily, it's not very windy out of the west-southwest at 7. There is the significant chance of snow here later this afternoon before perhaps the game ends. We might have some flurries. They expect a couple of inches of snow here overnight tonight. Nebraska won the toss and deferred, so Wisconsin elects to receive. Morrow Bondi will kick off. Kenzel Doe and Corey Clement back deep. Doe, a dangerous return man. Both of these teams, another thing they have in common, they have some outstanding returners. Joel Stabby getting ready to go on offense. Bondi's kick down to Doe just inside the goal line. And he got flattened at the 24-yard line by Jonathan Rose. We'll see 2 quarterbacks at least today for Wisconsin, and they might alternate within series as they did last week in their win against Purdue. Joel Stabby will start, the veteran redshirt junior from the Milwaukee area, Greenfield, Wisconsin. Became the starter 5 games ago. He's 4-0 this year and has been a winner throughout his career. 17-6. Tanner McAvoy was the starter at the beginning of the year, and he'll play a lot today. Stabby more of the traditional drop back passer. McAvoy a running threat. They give it to Gordon, and he swung down to the line of scrimmage. Randy Gregory already makes his presence felt.
The thing about Randy Gregory, Todd touched on his pass rush ability, but when you can play the run and be a dual threat player at defensive end, that will only make his stock rise.
5.5 sacks this year, and he missed most of 3 games early in the year due to injury. He had 10.5 last year when he was first team All Big Ten. So on the second play, McAvoy is in. Threw only 1 pass last week against Purdue. He's an adept runner. He hands it off to Kenzel Doe. The ball comes out at the 30-yard line, and the Cornhuskers have it. Greg McMullen knocked it out.
Well, not only Randy Gregory, but Greg McMullen's a guy that flashes on film, and this is effort right here. The ball was stripped by Zaire Anderson at first, came loose. And watch Zaire number 13 strip that ball out. It's loose, and Randy McMullen from pursuit from the backside, and that's what this Cornhusker defense will do. Run to the football, knocks it free. Nebraska takes over.
Zaire Anderson recovered the fumble. That gets Nebraska for the year to dead even in turnover margin. They started the day -1 for the year. Tommy Armstrong Jr., the quarterback in the pistol. And Amir Abdullah. That left knee looks healthy. Sprained his left MCL in the first quarter of the last game 2 weeks ago, and he got about 7 on his first carry today.
What you want to see is the ability to cut off that injured knee. And you see that little plant and spin right there? He will get confidence from that move because that shows that he can do it during the game, real time, real speed.
Give him 8 yards. It's 2nd down and 2. This time Armstrong keeps, gets to the corner, and is chased out of bounds by a cornerback, Sojourn Shelton. First down at the 17. Armstrong, a dual threat quarterback. He's their 2nd leading rusher for the year behind Abdullah. Averages 63 yards per game on the ground and is thrown for more than 1,800. 2nd in the Big Ten in total offense per game behind only J.T. Barrett of Ohio State, who was outstanding in their win a moment ago against Minnesota. Armstrong throws too high for Kenny Bell.
Well, for Tommy Armstrong to take the next step, this is a throw that he has to make. Wisconsin very stingy in the red zone as a defense as a whole. Left an opportunity open for them to capitalize. And when he misses, because of his height, Sean, he misses a lot of throws high.
You mean his lack of height?
Or thereof.
They list him at 6'1". That might be generous. He's a very solid 220-pounder. 2nd and 10. Wisconsin's been a terrific red zone defense. Abdullah fights for every inch. Got inside the 15. Wisconsin's #1 in the country on defense in total yards. They give up just 251 per game. And they're 3rd in scoring defense, giving up just 14.3 points per game. Only Alabama and Ole Miss have been more difficult to score on. But by their own admission, they have not played a very difficult schedule, particularly against teams with good offenses. This is the best offense they've faced this year in the Cornhuskers. 3rd and 7. Armstrong down the middle and incomplete. Intended for Brendan Riley, who had his hands on it but couldn't hang on. Derek Tyndall, the backup defensive back, helped break up the play.
Well, this off the zone blitz is a good read by Tommy Armstrong Jr. Perfect throw. Riley missed opportunity, and that's the 2nd opportunity they missed to keep a drive alive inside the red zone. 1 for a first down, and the first one we saw was a missed touchdown.
Riley knows he should have had that. 32-yard field goal try now for the true freshman Drew Brown. And his kick is good. He'd been scuffling a bit lately, just 1 for his previous 4. But Nebraska converts a fumble into 3 points. The defense forced the field goal try for Gary Anderson. Back at Camp Randall Stadium for the 9th meeting all time between Nebraska and Wisconsin. Their 4th as members of the Big Ten. Wisconsin's won 2 out of 3, including the last meeting, which Bo Pelini says he'll never forget. Wisconsin scored 70 in a 70-31 win. A new trophy. The first time these two schools will play for the Freedom Trophy. Chris Fowler said on game day this morning there are now 14 trophy games in the Big Ten. That seems like enough.
Yep, exactly. Cut it off.
Morrow Bondi's 2nd kickoff already. Down to Denzel Doe, who got rocked right at the 20-yard line and bounced ahead to the 22. Josh Banderas, Austin Williams combined to make the play on special teams for Nebraska.
Sean, one thing you want to look for Wisconsin right now, we feel that for them to be successful, they have to throw the ball on first down. They have to loosen this defense up because Nebraska is going to challenge you up front. So you have to get players involved and to loosen those linebackers and safety up by throwing on first down.
Joel Stabby takes the first snap of this series with the I formation behind him. Derek Watt, the fullback for Melvin Gordon. Gordon out to the 26. He's from Kenosha, Wisconsin, leading the country in rushing yards per game, just under 167. He's had at least 120 in 8 of their 9 games. He's had 5 games of 175 rushing yards or more. That's most in the country. 18 touchdowns in the last 7 games for Melvin Gordon. Stabby, couple of fakes, lots of time to throw, and throws into traffic too high. Intended for Alex Erickson, who's their leading receiver. Randy Gregory reintroduced himself to Joel Stabby on that throw.
And there you're going to see the offensive line for Wisconsin early on having trouble with Gregory. Gregory was bearing down on him, and that was the reason that ball came out high, not able to finish the throw.
Well, he's lucky it came out high because that ball could have been picked. That was a 2-man route, Todd, and anytime you can play man-to-man and match up athletically, that gives the advantage to the pass rushers, and right now Nebraska has that edge in man-to-man coverage.
Big benefit when you can get a lot of pressure with just 4 men. Nebraska doesn't have to blitz very much, and Stabby, shuffling his feet, threw it over the head of Jordan Frederick. Josh Mitchell, a fine corner, had coverage.
And Gregory with the pressure again. They're going to have to start helping, because right now it's establishing that line of scrimmage on pass rush and pass blocking. They cannot handle them one-on-one. That's big number 61 out there for Wisconsin in Merritt's. He's having trouble. So what you have to do is either slide your line to him or start chipping him with a tight end or a running back to slow him down.
They've been using two different punters. This is Bart Houston, the rugby-style punter. Ooh, that is into traffic, and Nebraska trying to field it. And now the Badgers have it across midfield. Like Joey Felici tried to pick it up, and George Panos wound up with the ball for Wisconsin. Now the question is, did it hit a Wisconsin player first? And the officials are conferring at midfield.
See right here, there's the ball. Yes, it did.
One of the Badgers, James McGuire, who is the long snapper running downfield.
That's a lack of execution on Nebraska's part. Anytime you have a ball that's rolling on the ground, it's the return man's responsibility to wave his arms, poison, 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 and that will tell the folks coming down the field blocking for you to get away from the football.
And they are going to give the ball to Nebraska. So it's just an 18-yard punt to the spot where it hit McGuire. They've had a lot of problems punting the football. They have the Badgers, and the Wisconsin defenders pointing to the left end of the offensive line.
Ball start. Offense number 71. 5-yard penalty, still first down.
John O'Neill is the referee. Alex Lewis, the best of their offensive linemen, in the opinion of the Wisconsin coaches. Transfer from Colorado, their left tackle. Tommy Armstrong kept the ball after the fake to Abdullah. He shows his running ability inside the 40 to the 38, tackled by Darius Hillary.
When you have a quarterback that's not exactly sure with his arm, one way to get him involved in the game is get the ball in his hands by running. Very capable runner.
Averaging over 6 yards per carry for the year. That was a 10-yard gain. They bring pressure off the corner. Abdullah ran right where the pressure came from, down to the 24-yard line. So the good news for Nebraska, Abdullah looks fully healthy on that injured knee.
Exactly, Sean, and he's able to make the on-block player miss. Right there, Beagle and Landish got caught in the same gap, 47 and 30. Abdullah with great vision saw that two guys were in one gap, and you show his burst and power.
He was 5'9", but very powerfully built 205-pounder.
Illegal substitution. Defense, 12 players in formation. 5-yard penalty, still first down.
Wisconsin's defense rarely makes a mental mistake, especially when they do those blitzes. Right there was a mental mistake between Landish and Beagle, two of their most reliable guys. And Abdullah is so good that he will make you pay because of his great vision.
On 1st and 5, Abdullah close to the first down. We talked about Gary Anderson saying the key he thinks to the football game will be the play of his offensive line against Randy Gregory and the Nebraska defensive front. Dave Aranda, the defensive coordinator for Wisconsin, said the key on his side of the ball is just to get lined up properly, play the assignments correctly against the Nebraska offense, which gives you more movement and misdirection plays than any team they faced this year. Abdullah picks up the first down inside the 13-yard line, tackled by Vince Beagle.
That's always the challenge. And you look at number 47, Vince Beagle, coming off a big game last week, Big Ten Player of the Week. 3 sacks, 4 tackles for loss against Purdue.
Five carries for Abdullah for 31 yards. 5.5 minutes gone by. Nebraska's already taken advantage of a Wisconsin fumble to score 3 points. Now trying to take advantage of a short Wisconsin punt. Corner in the end zone. Kenny Bell, touchdown, Nebraska.
It's all about the matchups, recognizing the matchups, exploiting the matchups. Exactly what Nebraska did, and Tim Beck, the offensive coordinator, putting Bell on Caputo, one-on-one situation. They'll take it all day.
Bell beat the safety. Rich Fisher, the wide receiver coach, congratulating Kenny Bell, who just went past the great Johnny Rodgers to become first all-time in career receiving yards. He needed just 2 today and got 12 on that catch. He's already the leader in career receptions. Drew Brown adds the extra point. Nebraska taking advantage of mistake-prone Wisconsin here in the first 6 minutes. Kenny Bell, a 12-yard touchdown reception, the 18th career receiving touchdown for Bell.
ESPN College Football, presented by K Jewelers. K Jewelers, every kiss begins with K. Cadillac. And Sylvania Silver Star Ultra headlights for ultra night vision, engineered to keep you safer on the road.
Well, one of the problems for Wisconsin this year has been in the punting game, and it hurts them again. 18-yard punt by the backup punter, Bart Houston, gave Nebraska great field position, and they took advantage of it, going the 43 yards in just 5 plays. Nebraska will kick off. Moro Bondi, who missed the last 6 games after breaking a collarbone in a motorcycle accident, back this week, and this kick will not be returned.
It's about creating matchups right here. This is Kenny Bell. You have to help Michael Caputo guard him. Schobert, number 58, Joe, has to walk out, disrupt the timing of the route so he does not have a free release. When he gets the free release, Caputo, number 7, has no shot. He's in bad position, and he did not get help from Schobert, the linebacker, Todd.
And Chris, what I love that you saw right there is Amir Abdullah. Saw early in the game, he looks good, not 100%. They're running him a lot to the right. But what I do notice is that he's jumping in pass protection, no problem. He sets up that play because of his ability to pick up the defensive back coming on the backside.
Tanner McElvoy is the quarterback on the first play of this series. Melvin Gordon straight ahead, taken down by Randy Gregory. McElvoy comes out and Joel Stavi returns.
I'm not a big fan of rotating quarterbacks. I'm not a big fan of rotating in series. I'm not a big fan of going alternate series. I think it disrupts the timing of everything that you do. Get a guy and stick with it.
Stavi was the guy last year. But he lost the job to McElvoy in the preseason, which was a big surprise to many given the success that they've had with Stavi at the helm. Melvin Gordon gets outside. Delivers a stiff arm to Corey Cooper, but couldn't stay in bounds. Got additional yardage after the stiff arm, and they'll mark him out at the Nebraska 28. A 42-yard run for Gordon.
Understanding where the hole's going to be, the patience that we talked about right there, setting up his block, then a 0 to 60 acceleration, plus the power and stiff arm. Nobody uses a stiff arm better than number 25, Melvin Gordon, in all of college football. Great finisher of runs.
17th run of the year of 40 yards or more. McElvoy. He lost the football, and it looks like Gordon got it back for Wisconsin. He did. Huge break for the Badgers. McElvoy carried with enough yardage for a first down, but then lost it as he went down. And Gordon in the right place.
Well, Josh Mitchell, number 5, has a chance to get the recovery right here as the ball is knocked out by Cooper. And Josh, being a corner, has to be an athlete. Get down there and pick the ball up. General rule of thumb, if you're going back towards your own end zone, fall on it. If you're going toward the other team's end zone, then you try to pick it up. A lot easier to do.
Joel Stavi back in. He swings it wide, and excellent play by Josh Mitchell to take down Alex Erickson immediately.
Coming into this game trying to attack Josh Mitchell and make him tackle out on the edges, and he defeated the block of number 9, Jordan Frederick, easily to be able to make a good open field tackle on Alex Erickson.
2nd and goal from the 9. Corey Clement, outstanding backup to Gordon, but he's stacked up at the line of scrimmage. First hit by Zaire Anderson. Anderson is the leading tackler on the year for this Nebraska defense. Like Wisconsin, one of the best defenses in the country. Giving up 19.7 points per game. That's 16th in the country. They've been great on 3rd down. This is 3rd down. They're 2nd in the country in 3rd down defense. Only Clemson's been better. Stabby chased by Gregory, has to unload. It's caught for a very short gain by Troy Fumagalli. And Randy Gregory throughout this first quarter has been a very disruptive force.
Well, Nebraska right now, Sean, they want to play man-to-man, and they play a zone man concept, drop to zone, play man, and there's no separation being created by the Wisconsin wide receivers, and there's nowhere to throw for Stabby.
It's been a problem all year long. Not a lot of production from the wide receiver position. Here's Rafael Gaglianone, who's made 6 in a row. True freshman from Brazil. 26-yard try is good. And Wisconsin is on the board. With 6:10 to go in the first quarter, Nebraska leading 10-3. College football action continues tonight on ABC. Big ACC showdown. Jameis Winston in 3rd ranked now Florida State in Miami to take on their rivals, the Hurricanes. Miami playing good football lately. That's tonight at 8. 5 Pacific on ABC's Saturday Night Football. School record 25 straight wins, also the conference record for the Noles. Longest active winning streak in the country. Andrew Endicott kicks off. Gamorne Pearsonell, dangerous return man. And a good tackle by Peniel Jean. Here's Robert Flores back in the studio. Number 1, but 9.5-point underdogs in Tuscaloosa today. Tommy Armstrong Jr. takes off running, taken down to the open field by Marcus Trotter. But another quality gain for the Nebraska quarterback to the 30-yard line, a pickup of 7.
Well, I like the composure. You're going to see him point to Amir Abdullah. See that point? That's telling him, forget about getting the ball. Become a blocker for me, and he does. But that's Tommy Armstrong Jr. trusting. A good call by Tim Beck, Sean, to get him out in space to give him that run-pass option.
That's what Dave Aranda, the defensive coordinator, was talking about. Be disciplined when they give you a misdirection play. Just perform your assignments, and that's what Joe Schobert did to take down Armstrong.
Good job of coming hot off the edge, disregarding the fake in the backfield, going to his responsibility and attacking Armstrong behind the line of scrimmage.
On 3rd and 4, Armstrong fires. Incomplete, intended for Kenny Bell. Sojourn Shelton, the sophomore from Fort Lauderdale, in coverage.
Outstanding coverage. Kenny Bell never gets Sojourn Shelton out of his back pedal. Good press. See that collision disrupts the timing of the route. They're letting them play down there, so now you know that if you're playing corner not only for Wisconsin and Nebraska, you can get your hands on there and get liberal with your hands.
Yeah, they allowed that all the way until the ball was right on Kenny Bell. Sam Foltz to punt for Nebraska. And a dandy. High and long, and a fair catch made by Kenzel Doe. They'll mark it at the 22-yard line, perhaps the 23. They'll put it on the 23. Todd?
Well, you know, with these two running backs, Amir Abdullah of Nebraska and Melvin Gordon with Wisconsin, obviously two of the most talented running backs, but also two of the best team players that we've seen all year long. With Melvin Gordon specifically, he could have gone out last year and been a second-round draft pick and made a lot of money. He said he wanted to come back to help this team, and he wanted to improve as a football player, specifically when he didn't have the ball in his hands, especially as a blocker. And we've already seen early on today, he is much improved from a year ago.
Blocker in pass protection and as a receiver. He got dumped just across the line of scrimmage by Trevor Roach. Inside linebacker, former walk-on, who's become an important player now as a fifth-year senior. Played very little prior to this year.
Yeah, how many times do we say that about Nebraska players? Former walk-on that just turns into the perfect role player, which Trevor Roach is at the Mike linebacker position. Wisconsin's got to start attacking down the middle of the field. They're going to hit them with play action. That's who they are. That's what they do. But they're having safety so close to the line of scrimmage, you got to threaten them a little bit. Man, 9 guys up there within 8 yards.
Tanner McAvoy. Dumped by David Santos short of the first down. McAvoy's a big fella, 6'6", 222 pounds. Played safety last year as Stave was clearly the #1 quarterback for Wisconsin. 3rd down and 2.
So you know the quarterback run is eliminated with McAvoy out. So you can call your defense accordingly that you don't have to account for the quarterback. John Papuchis, defensive coordinator.
And one of the best in the country, too. Very bright young defensive coordinators in this game. Gordon gets dropped for a loss. Corey Cooper up from the safety spot. The ball's out, and Zaire Anderson has it for Nebraska.
See if it's a fumble here, but when you have your safeties making tackles at the line of scrimmage, you can see the ball is definitely loose. That's a problem. Zaire Anderson with his 2nd fumble recovery of the day. But there's no push from the Wisconsin offensive line. Then you have safeties, Sean, running free to the ball. That's why I'm telling you, pretty soon Wisconsin has to make an adjustment and attack the middle of the field. At least throw one deep to threaten it, to loosen those guys up.
Andy Ludwig, the offensive coordinator for Wisconsin, said, we're used to 8 men in the box against us. We can handle that, but when there are 9 men up there, we need to do something. And they're seeing every white shirt on that Nebraska defense up near the line. Armstrong carries for a couple. Vince Beagle, they had the stop for Wisconsin. I mentioned since Nebraska joined the Big Ten, they're 1-2 against the Badgers. One of the big problems has been the turnover margin. They're -6 in those 3 games. They have it going their way in the turnover margin today. Abdullah stays on his feet. Wow, it looked like he was going to get chopped down. He got 5, 6, 7 more yards.
Well, the defense is right because you have Peniel Jean, number 21, coming up untouched. So this is what Amir Abdullah does best. He makes the on-block player miss, which allows him to get 4 or 5 extra yards, Todd.
And then that body control and just the pad level, too. He's not a big back, only around 200 pounds, but he runs like he's 225. He finishes. That's what I love about him.
Well, his lack of height also makes him very difficult to find. I know that from a linebacker position. Those short guys are hard to find behind big offensive linemen.
3rd and less than a yard. Abdullah, 1st down to the 18. Michael Caputo, the safety from Imperial, Pennsylvania, the Pittsburgh area. He's the leading tackler for this Wisconsin defense, one of the best in the country statistically, but individually, Chris, not a lot of stats. They play outstanding team defense.
Well, here's why they're so good, Sean. They're very smart, and by being smart, that means a team will play fast because everybody knows where to go.
Armstrong. And there's another example, Chris, of what Dave Aranda was talking about. The misdirection from Nebraska. They faked the jet sweep to Kenny Bell. Armstrong went the other direction for about 7.
If you follow number 74, Mike Mowdy, the pulling guard, he's going to take you to the ball, so that fake shouldn't bother linebackers. Trust what you see and trust your eyes.
Dave Aranda done a terrific job. Second year with Gary Anderson here. Came with him from Utah State. Was 38 years old. One of the rising stars in coaching. Abdullah swarmed under by Aranda's defense. Marcus Trotter, fifth-year senior from Racine, Wisconsin.
Trotter makes a lot of plays inside the tackles. Again, not a superstar, but an outstanding college football player because he understands the game and hits the right gap. And you can say that about this whole Wisconsin defense.
3rd down and 3 from the 10. Final 30 seconds of the first quarter. Nebraska leading 10-3. Trying to take advantage of another Wisconsin mistake. Armstrong the option. And a good decision to keep it and get the first down. Tackled by Derek Landish and Mike Caputo.
Well, this is a check with me or a look over. They go to check to the speed option. The reason being because Wisconsin was in man defense. And when you're in man defense, that runs the outside players off, allowing Tommy Armstrong Jr. to get a one-on-one matchup 4 yards down the field and plow for the first down.
That's the end of the first quarter. Amir Abdullah, 8 carries for 42 yards. Armstrong has rushed for 32 yards. And Wisconsin has certainly helped the Nebraska cause. Problems on the punt, 2 fumbles. 10-3 Nebraska. We welcome you back to ESPN on ABC College Football, presented by Kay Jewelers. From the capital of the great state of Wisconsin, Madison, one of the great college towns in America. Sellout crowd here despite the fact it was 26 degrees at kickoff, the coldest game time temperature here at Camp Randall since 1964. It was 11 degrees when Wisconsin hosted Minnesota, November 21st of '64. First and goal, Nebraska trying to build on the 7-point lead. Amir Abdullah to the 5, a gain of 2. Jake Kiefer, backup defensive end, the primary tackler for Wisconsin.
He's been a nice addition, has come along, former linebacker, converted to defensive end, provides depth in there and making a play for his Badger teammates.
Don't have a lot of depth along that defensive front 3. They have been bolstered by the return of Warren Herring. He wears number 45. 2nd and goal. Armstrong looked to the sidelines for help, as he'll do regularly. Play clock at 2. Wisconsin blitz. Landish didn't get there, and Armstrong walks in for a touchdown.
There's fewer position groups in the country that block as well as the Nebraska wide receivers. Get there at the end of your picture. They're playing man coverage, which makes it easier. Tommy Armstrong recognizes a man coverage, and they just do a great job of executing, sealing that corner. And again, he has enough speed to get to that edge.
Drew Brown for the extra point. The younger brother, Chris Brown, former Nebraska and NFL kicker, now retired, we're told living in Omaha. Extra point is good. So another short field for the Nebraska offense off the Wisconsin fumble by Melvin Gordon. They go 30 yards in 8 plays, and Armstrong scores from 5. Nebraska leading 17-3. All 17 points a result of miscues by Wisconsin. Huskers 8-1 under Bo Pelini. It is 7th year. He's won at least 9 games each of the first 6 seasons. One more win and he'll reach the 9-win mark again. Problem is he's lost exactly 4 games in each of his first 6 seasons, and if you're a Nebraska fan, many of you consider that to be too many. Mauro Bondi taking off in this direction for the first time. They fake a reverse, and Kenzel Doe got upended. Joey Felici, Josh Banderas down there in coverage. Here are those miscues that we talked about. Wisconsin had lost only 4 fumbles all season entering today, but Kenzel Doe coughed it up. Then Bart Houston, we have a problem. Punts it off his own long snapper. It led to a short field and more Nebraska points. And then Melvin Gordon, just the 5th lost fumble of his career, led to a touchdown. 2 fumbles and the short punt. All 17 points for Nebraska off those 3 mistakes by the Badgers. Joel Stabby, the quarterback. Melvin Gordon stacked up after a 2-yard gain. Again, Zaire Anderson with Malik Collins, who's an emerging star at defensive tackle. Big number 7, the sophomore from Kansas City, Missouri.
And Sean, just to go back on your point on those fumbles, the teams that compete and play for championships in November and December, they turn those turnovers into points, especially on the road. You can't leave anything on the field when you're playing against an outstanding opponent like Wisconsin. And Nebraska is converted both offensively and defensively.
Tanner McEvoy back in at quarterback. He gave it to Gordon, who's having a hard time finding running room against this Bo Pelini and John Papuchis defense.
Well,
Greg McMullen at the bottom of the pile. Malik Collins, Randy Gregory, 3 members of that outstanding front 4, all in on the play.
Until you attack them deep, you're going to have a hard time finding it because they have 9 guys. If you're counting corners lined up on 11 on the line of scrimmage, you have 11. So until Wisconsin attacks the middle of the field, even threatens the middle of the field deep, that's what they're going to get. You can't block them all.
They really lack that explosive wide receiver who can stretch the field and really make you be concerned about him. Here comes a rare Nebraska blitz. Stabby belted by Zaire Anderson, and the catch is made by Jordan Frederick for a first down to the 38-yard line with Daniel Davey in coverage.
Well, this is Joel Stabby at his best, staying in the pocket, understanding he's going to get hit, and throwing to a spot on the outside edge and low. So his receiver's the only guy that has a shot to catch it in Jordan Frederick. I like the toughness, though, right there. Knowing you're going to get hit, but yet delivering the football.
Wisconsin has called timeout. Might just want to make sure Stabby's okay after that hit he took.
ESPN College Football presented by Kay Jewelers. Brought to you by Carhartt Rain Defender. For those who outwork them all. Taco Bell. Sometimes you gotta live Moss. And Bud Light, who reminds fans to stay in the game and drink responsibly.
Yesterday, several members of Wisconsin's football team paid a visit to sick and injured children at the American Family Children's Hospital here in Madison. Certainly lifted the spirits of those young people. Great hospital, comprehensive pediatric medical and surgical center. Joel Stabby apparently all right after he got belted while throwing for a first down. He hands it off to Melvin Gordon, who turns the corner. Second time he's gone loose. He went right over Corey Cooper and all the way into the end zone for a touchdown. His 9th carry. 5 of them had gone for 2 yards or fewer. Well, he had a 42-yard run earlier, and now he has a 62-yard touchdown run. than 3 minutes
ruling
into
on the field was
the
touchdown
second
run.
quarter.
That ruling is under further review.
Another 100-yard game for Melvin Gordon, the 19th of his career. They are going to make sure he did not go out of bounds. Tom Fiedler is the replay official. How about this move?
Well, he did that last week against Purdue when he did a hurdle. He can go for high hurdles jumping over Corey Cooper, who for some reason does not want to wrap his arms. And when you're chasing a guy, you get longer by throwing your arms out there and try to wrap him up.
Yeah, that's a touchdown. It's not even close.
See, I don't understand that, Sean. You got a chance to make a play. You got to wrap your arms, especially on a strong runner like Melvin Gordon.
After further review, the ruling on the field of touchdown is confirmed.
Daniel Davey getting an earful from Bo Pelini.
And I'm going to tell you why in a minute.
Gaglianone adds the extra point.
They're in coverage right here, and Daniel Davey is going to jump inside. Now he's going to knock off Gary, the safety, coming up, and there's going to be a collision point right here. Now watch Davey come inside. You have to let him go because you're a contained player. You got one guy blocking two without blocking anybody. Then all Melvin Gordon needs with his great acceleration is that little edge. Then Corey Cooper gets lazy on his tackle, and he's off to the races. Todd?
I know you're a little frustrated with the attempted tackle or lack thereof, but Melvin Gordon, what makes him special is that he makes hard things like that look so easy. I mean, you have a guy running at you full speed, you're tiptoeing down the sideline, and you don't even break the sprint. I mean, very few guys have the body control to do what he just did and to have the acceleration right off of the jump as well. This guy's something else.
Well, the other thing he's improved on, and you hit on it, he's a willing pass blocker that will only get better in his hands out of the backfield with 11 catches so far this year.
Andrew Endicott's kickoff down to Kenny Bell. He spins out across the 25-yard line. Leon Jacobs the tackle. Gordon's touchdown brings Wisconsin back within one score. He's averaged 7.88 yards per carry during his career at Wisconsin. We want to know who holds the all-time FBS record for yards per carry in a career with a minimum of 400 carries. First and 10, Nebraska. Tommy Armstrong Jr. again looking to the sideline for help. He keeps it. It's wrestled down by Derek Landish after a pickup of 3. It's easy to average nearly 8 yards per carry for Melvin Gordon when you regularly go for 40 plus. He has 2 of those already today. That's 18 runs of 40 plus in the last 2 seasons for Melvin Gordon to lead the nation. 12 of those this year. And now his good friend Amir Abdul on the field. They've been good friends since they met while playing at an all-star game in high school. Spent a lot of time together. Kept in regular contact via the phone and texting. Armstrong throws on the run. The sinker low and away, intended for Demornay Pearsonell.
Well, Tommy Armstrong gave Pearsonell a little hand signal, meaning he was supposed to break that route off a little bit quicker. But when he's that wide open, Tommy Armstrong was able to get his shoulder square to his target. He's got to deliver the football, and he did not. Watch right here. On the rollout. Now look, his shoulders are square. He gets him turned, and he felt like Pearsonell took that route a little deep. But still, you have to make the adjustment as a quarterback to throw where he is.
Armstrong just 1 for 5 passing. Odd formation there. Tommy throws a wobbler, incomplete. Intended for Kenny Bell. Sojourn Shelton in coverage. Shelton's had an up and down year by his own admission. But 4 interceptions last season as a true freshman, the Wisconsin record. Big things were expected this year. He has not played consistently, although the coaches believe he's played his best football lately. Kenzel Doe. Back for the punt from Sam Foltz. High snap from Josh Falkenberry. Good punt, fair catch made, 28-yard line. So despite all the mistakes by Wisconsin, Melvin Gordon has them within 1 score, and the ball goes back to the great Wisconsin star in the offense after a 43-yard punt. And the answer to the question, who holds the FBS record for yards per carry in a career? Minimum of 400 carries. You want to guess?
I don't know. Marcus Allen. I don't know.
Mike Rozier of Nebraska. 7.16 back in the early 1980s.
He was a load to bring down. Had a chance to play against him in the NFL. It was like hitting a Volkswagen.
Joel Stabby, the pitch to Melvin Gordon, working some of his magic. Got 8. Josh Mitchell made the tackle for Nebraska. Momentum seems to be shifting back to Wisconsin. Well, a touchdown would tie the game.
Here's a little adjustment that they've made. They stopped attacking the inside. Now they're hitting outside runs, and because of man-to-man coverage, it brings those corners inside, so it gives you a short edge. So what's the adjustment that John Papuchis and Bo Pelini make? They might be forced to play a little bit of zone.
Gordon, first down to the 40. David Santos made the tackle.
This offensive line just leans on you too after a while. They're so big, so technically sound. Again, there's no stars on this group. There's no future first-round draft picks, but they work together so well, and they make adjustments as the game goes on. We've seen that throughout the entire season, and you're seeing now this Nebraska defensive front, the front four that's very talented, starting to get a little worn down having to deal with them.
Same 5 has started every game on the offensive line for Wisconsin. Quick pop to Kenzel Doe, who got ripped down by Corey Cooper along the far sideline. Well, later that offensive line is the 5th-year senior right tackle Rob Havenstein, 6'8", 333-pounder, his 50th career start, and you can see the experience all the way across that offensive line. As usual, Wisconsin's O-line, one of the best in the country.
Oh, nobody double teams and comes off on the second level of linebackers better than this unit as a whole in the country. Nobody.
Gordon finds a crease and gets yanked down by Daniel Davey. The ball's out again. No indication that he was down by contact. And a battle for the ball, and Nebraska has it. Boy, for so many years, these great Wisconsin running backs were so good at hanging on to the football. You
on the field,
very rarely saw fumbles.
He's getting fighting for extra yards. His elbow is away from the ball.
And I think the ball might have been coming out before that elbow hit the ground.
Nate Gary, number 25, coming in late. Yeah, that ball's out.
Well, is the right knee down? I think the right knee was down before Nate Gary popped it out. Crowd thinks so. They saw a replay on the big screen here. It's close.
Yeah.
And the ruling on the field was a fumble.
The ball was recovered by Nebraska. That ruling is under further review.
Well, I think that's tough to overturn. It's a bang play.
When is his right knee down? But is the ball already starting to come out? That's the question.
You see the ball loose right there, Sean. Anytime you're a running back and you're in contact with a defender, that's when you secure the ball even tighter, and the ball gets away from his body and the pressure points, and it's loose.
I think it's inconclusive.
Yeah.
Very difficult to tell if that ball was starting to come out before his right knee hits the ground. Certainly it was coming out before his elbow hit the ground.
I think his knee did not hit before, but I can see how you could see it the other way. That close.
And then that would make it inconclusive, would it not?
Yes, it would.
After further review, The ruling on the field of fumble recovered by Nebraska is confirmed.
Confirmed. That means Tom Fiedler saw enough to believe the ball was coming out before that knee hit the ground. The third Wisconsin lost fumble. They'd lost 4 the entire season in 9 games prior to today.
This is where Wisconsin's defense has to stand up and make a play. Nebraska takes advantage of turnovers, at least in this game. 14 points off the 2 previous fumbles.
And they took advantage of the very short punt as well. Huge hole for Amir Abdullah. And he gets 8. Michael Caputo and Marcus Trotter made the tackle for the Badgers.
He got a little slow and he did a little helmet tap right there. And that's concerning if you're a Nebraska fan. He's shaking his head and he's lost in that sea of red.
Monty Cross comes in. He saw most of the action at I-back 2 weeks ago in their last game against Purdue. After Abdullah went out with a knee injury. It's a bigger back. Carried for 66 yards against the Boilermakers on 20 carries. Got 3 there for the first down. Bo Pelini said he ordinarily doesn't like a bye week during the season. He likes the rhythm of the season, the routine in preparation. But he felt if there was a good time for the bye week, it was the one they just had last weekend, because it gave Amir Abdullah more time to heal from that left MCL sprain. Cross again. You can see in those 2 carries nowhere near as dynamic a runner as is Abdullah. He was chopped out by Marcus Trotter after a gain of 3.
Well, Monty Cross looks the part. 230 pounds. Just has a hard time getting going. And he doesn't get his momentum, so he's one of those bigger backs. Once he gets his shoulders turned downfield and gets about 7 yards, then he's a load. But he's not a quick starter.
He's out and Terrell Newby is in. Abdullah doesn't look to be in pain, but he does have a jacket on the sideline. 2nd and 7. Nebraska at the Wisconsin 45. Badgers crowd the line of scrimmage. Newby lost the ball. And Wisconsin has it. Warren Herring knocked it out, and Joe Schobert recovered for Wisconsin.
Coming off cold on the bench, not used to holding the ball. Right there, Warren Herring does a great job of laying out, and I love the fact that you wrap your arms, that way you can strip it out of there. And Schobert coming from the backside, taking care of his responsibility on Armstrong, hustling back to the play, and he and Caputo fight for it. Schobert with the pig.
I think the cold weather has a lot to do with the difficulty in hanging on to the ball, Chris.
I do, if you're not used to hanging on to it, Sean. If you come off the bench and you're not over there holding the ball, that's why I love coaches that make all backup running backs have a football in their hands, just to remind them while they're watching the game.
These teams did practice outdoors in the cold during the week. Melvin Gordon bounced off the pile, then went away from Josh Mitchell, and here he goes. Nate Gary able to get him down to the open field at the 17-yard line.
Well, they felt like they can get a one-on-one matchup with Mitchell, number 5. They'll win that battle. And Melvin Gordon shows you his shake right here. Nate Gary does a good job of buying time, allowing the guys to pursue and making a good open field tackle. Melvin's running with anger right now. 2 fumbles. You see that ball high and tight. It brings back memories of Anthony Davis, who used to play here. Hold that right up by your chin.
181 yards and a long way to go in the half. Only midway through the second quarter. He's out after the 39-yard run. Then runs of 42, 62, now 39. Corey Clement. Touchdown, Wisconsin. And Clement not getting up after the 17-yard touchdown run. Sophomore from Glassboro, New Jersey. He'd be the featured back on a lot of teams in the country, but playing behind Melvin Gordon. He's been very productive when called upon. He's had 3 games this season of 100 yards rushing or more.
Hey guys, you have room.
Now he's up on his feet. And they're an extra point away from a tie game. And the extra point good by Rafael Gaglianone. 14 unanswered points for Wisconsin midway through the second quarter. The Badgers and Cornhuskers tied at 17.
Well, we got a couple bad things for Nebraska and a couple good things for Wisconsin. Right here you have the safety lined up at linebacker. He's used to playing sideways as opposed to downhill. You have number 41 Santos is going to jump inside, creating 2 men in 1 gap. That's a problem. Watch this. Now take a look at Santos. He jumped inside. 25 Gary is attacking sideways. From linebacker position, you want to attack uphill to make that hole a little bit smaller. Then for Wisconsin, you see the strength of their running backs is running through tackles, exactly what they did.
You're tied at 17. In a hard-hitting game, we've seen Abdullah, Gordon, and Clement all feeling the effects of the contact they have endured while carrying the ball. Kenny Bell knocked down at the 22-yard line. Here's Robert Flores in the studio. Still a surprise, but a long way to go, obviously. Mir Abdullah is back in their flags before the snap of the ball.
Number 68, 5-yard penalty, still first down.
Jake Cotton, the left guard, making his 21st career start. That's the most on the offensive line. Bo Pelini was talking about how bright the future is. There are really only about 10 seniors who play for Nebraska, including Cotton, whose dad is the offensive line coach at Nebraska.
Brother tight end Sam Cotton, number 84, lines up alongside that offensive line with his brother at times.
First and 15. Abdullah lowers his shoulder and runs out to the 25.
Sean, this is what he brings to the table. I mean, first the cutting ability. Right there, the vision to see the hole, but this is what I love, the power. And because he's so low to the ground, if you look at him, he's packed pretty tight. I mean, he's stout. He has that power because of the leverage.
Rushed for 1,000 yards each of the last 3 seasons with all the great running backs Nebraska's had. He's the only player in Nebraska history to do that. Play clock winding down as Armstrong is under duress. Got it off. Throws to single coverage. Incomplete. Looking for Brendan Riley. Devin Golden, reserve defensive back, had good coverage.
Well, they come off the blitz off the corner with Landish. And it's a good read by Armstrong and frankly a good throw to the back shoulder. And Riley only was able to get one hand on it. A little high, but certainly catchable at this level.
Just 1 out of 7 passing for Armstrong. Rolling left, his pass is batted down. Incomplete. Joe Schobert with the big play.
Mr. Consistency. Not flashy, but he's trustable. Right here, Joe Schobert, knowing that he's not going to be able to get a hit, gets that left arm up and blocks the shot. The three-pointer of Tommy Armstrong. Got Badger basketball player there. Just consistent, they're smart, they don't make mistakes, and they don't get out of position, which allows them to make plays like that. Unselfish defense.
Well, Wisconsin once down 17-3. Get the ball back, chance to take the lead. Fultz barely got the punt off. And Sam's kick sailed over the head of Kenzel Doe. It is out of bounds at the 25-yard line. 50-yard punt. Tonight, the ESPN College Football Primetime. 9th-ranked Auburn trying to bounce back from that loss last week to Texas A&M. Taking on the Georgia Bulldogs, who are trying to take another step toward the title of the SEC East. Both in the top 15. College Football Primetime presented by Hampton Hotels tonight, 7:15 Eastern on ESPN. And watch ESPN. Todd Gurley, speaking of great running backs, returns from his 4-game suspension for Georgia.
And I know he's #1 on Todd McShay's board right now at the running back position. We're seeing two pretty good ones here today.
Melvin Gordon really helping his Heisman candidacy as he goes off to the races again.
Well, Sean, this is almost not fair. You have 25 red versus 25 white in open space. And if I was a gambling man, I'm betting on 25 red. Look at Gary, untouched. His feet get stuck. You cannot break down against fast backs. You got to run through the target. If you break down, a person that accelerates with a shake like that will put you on his highlight film in a heartbeat.
44-yard run. 4 rushes of 39 yards or longer for Gordon. And then he powers ahead for about 9. Gary able to wrestle him down that time. Gary's a sophomore safety, played linebacker as a freshman last year, really out of necessity. They didn't have much depth there. But Bo Pelini was raving about Gary when we talked with him earlier this week. He has the size, the toughness, the speed, and he believes that down the road Gary will have an NFL future.
I do too. I think he's a great player, but if you break down on speed backs, you'll miss him. And the best way to do it in the Barry Sanders rule was take your shot. Because if you break down, you have no chance. If you take a shot, you have a 50% chance of getting them.
Joel Stabby again getting most of the snaps at quarterback this week. Nice ball caught inside the 10 by Kenzel Doe. 1st and goal, Wisconsin, poised to take the lead for the first time today. Josh Mitchell took him out of bounds.
And a play action pass on 1st down. And what it does is it keeps Nebraska's offense off balance. Kenzel Doe working up the field and working back to the football. Beautiful.
13-yard gain on the completion to the senior Doe. It looks like Wisconsin's going to use another timeout. Back at Camp Randall Stadium in Madison, Wisconsin. Sean McDonough, Chris Spielman, Todd McShay, our field analysts. Nebraska led 17-3. But now it's Wisconsin positioned to take the lead. After a Badger timeout, 1st and goal from the 9. Derek Watts, the fullback, but there's a whistle before
the snap. Charge timeout, Nebraska. They're first.
Been a huge half for Melvin Gordon, up to 234 yards rushing in the half.
Well, what I love about him is this, the 0 to 60, the acceleration. Now Todd, he has great power, but he doesn't have that top end speed, but he's fast enough. Todd?
He is, like you said, the acceleration, the agility, and then the competitiveness. That's one of the biggest things I've seen with him all season long, starting with that LSU game we did in the opener. He can't stand going down, and all the great backs have that, the elite competitiveness. He's running with a little bit more body lean, a little bit more power between the tackles, as you see here in this graphic, 9 for 120 in the middle. He's become a complete back, and that's what he set out to do when he decided he was coming back for this season.
I think when you look at him, his work ethic, and you watch him work in practice, he wants to be good. He wants to be great. That's a guy right there, Sean, that's not afraid to talk about Heisman Trophy. I mean, he wants it. He embraces that talk.
Think back to the championship game in the Big Ten 2012. He rushed for more than 200 yards. He's well over 200 in his half. Pass in the flat for Derek Watt, and he couldn't hang on. The career high rushing for Gordon in the game is 259 yards. That was in their loss earlier this year at Northwestern when they turned it over 4 times. Their other loss was in the opener at LSU when they blew a 24-7 lead. We did that game. It looked like they had it under control. Gordon did not play much in the second half.
Still a mystery.
Yes.
Why?
Gordon again. Good tackle, because if that tackle was not made by Corey Cooper, it looked like the end zone for Melvin Gordon.
Nice job again of the safeties coming up and making the play. And Andy Ludwig, the offensive coordinator, had a nice adjustment. Instead of throwing the ball down the middle of the field to loosen them up, they started attacking the outside runs. So when you have success on the outside, the defense has to adjust to take away the outside run. And what that does is open up the middle of the field. Now they're running anywhere they want.
And they're sticking with Stabby here. Not running quarterbacks in and out. 3rd down and goal. Big play from the 5-yard line. Stabby throws to the goal line. It's caught. Was it a touchdown? Yes! Sam Arneson was in. It took the officials a while to throw their hands in the air, but they did. Arneson, the touchdown, and Wisconsin has its first lead.
Nice hands by Arneson to go up and get it and snag it. Certainly, yes, the ball was over when he was in the end zone. Good call by the touchdown, and the mistake the Nebraska defense made was that they fell off the cliff. You can't go into the goal line.
First catch of the day for Arneson, 20th of the year, his 4th touchdown. Rafael Gaglianone makes it a 7-point lead. Well, early in the game, that defense for Nebraska, Bo Pelini and John Papuch, is really making life difficult on Joel Stabby, blowing up the run game at the line of scrimmage. But of late, the offensive line opening up the holes, and Gordon doesn't need much to take off.
Seems to be a lot of communication problems. When you see the head coach being talked to by a defender, you see a corner talking to John Papuch as a defensive coordinator, that means they're not on the same page with coverage. And one thing that needs to be addressed, if they're down there on the goal line on coverage, the one thing you have to do is defend the goal line, not fall off the cliff, and jump in front of the potential receivers that are in the end zone, which they did not do.
Kenny Bell back deep for the kick from Andrew Endicott. Mir Abdullah usually back there, but they want to minimize his exposures coming off the knee injury 2 weeks ago. Touchdowns on 3 of the last 4 possessions for Wisconsin. Bell will bring it back from the 3. It gets taken down at the 26. Here's a look at our first Pacific Life game summary of the afternoon from Madison, Wisconsin. 238 yards, not only the career high for a first half, but 21 yards away from the most he's had in any game in his career.
Look at the biggest adjustment again. Nice job by Andy Ludwig, the offensive coordinator for Wisconsin, attacking the outside, having success, which opened up the inside running lanes for Gordon.
Nebraska really hasn't done much on offense. Well, 17 points off turnovers or the short punt of 18 yards by Bart Houston, and now confusion Can't even get a playoff. On the change of possession, they have to use the timeout, and only one left with 3:24 to go in the half. This week on ESPN's Monday Night Football, Ben Roethlisberger. He's had some enormous games this season. He and the Steelers at Nashville to take on the Titans. 8:15 Eastern Time on ESPN, live on Watch ESPN. Did you know, Chris, that no other night is Monday night?
I've known that my whole life.
Yeah, well, we just want to reinforce no other night is Monday night, and Monday night is special in the NFL. Has been for a long time. Out of the timeout. On 1st and 10, Armstrong. Just across the 30. Here's Robert in the studio.
Alabama making a statement, huh?
Perhaps another week of big movement in the college football playoff rankings when they come out again Tuesday night. Abdullah stopped after pickup with 2 by Marcus Trotter.
That's a difference right there of having a linebacker playing in a linebacker position or having a safety up there. Marcus Trotter made that play by attacking downhill, not moving laterally, but attacking the line of scrimmage, where he was able to get in his gap and have a good open field tackle on Amir Abdullah.
Just 126 yards of offense for Nebraska as we approach halftime. On 3rd and 3, they bring a blitz right up the middle, and Armstrong's thrown down by Marcus Trotter.
Well, this is a mistake, a mental error by Amir Abdullah. We'll tell you when he does well, we'll tell you when he does poorly. Right here, he's got to pick up Marcus Trotter, number 59, running, coming right on the blitz. You see he's a little bit late right there. The center was sliding to his side. That means he has to block opposite the center. When he's late or he hesitates, Marcus Trotter made him pay. That's on number 8 all day long.
And that was a whiff by Abdullah. First sack for Wisconsin. And that's an area they've picked up over previous years, Chris. Interesting, last year this coaching staff for Wisconsin inherited on the defensive side some bigger bodies who perhaps weren't as mobile, so they played what Dave Aranda calls static defense, didn't move around very much. Smaller group, speedier group, more athletic group, and they've adjusted to what those guys do well, and that's really a sign of good coaching. Do what your players do best.
Well, Dave Aranda is an outstanding football coach. Schematically, he knows what he's doing, and he puts his guys in position to win. The best thing about Wisconsin's defense, when you watch it on film, they're very smart. And when you're smart, you can still play fast, and you can play as fast as a defense that has a bunch of 4-4-40 guys on their team, because you're always in good position to make plays. There are 11 guys working as one, and rarely do they have a mental mistake.
You look at the 17 points for Nebraska and think it wasn't a very good half for the Wisconsin defense, but all 17 of those points on a short field because of the turnovers and the problem on the punt. Fultz takes off and has the first down. And Chris, we saw that earlier in the first quarter when Fultz came in to punt. The Wisconsin punt team really retreated to set up a return, and obviously the Nebraska coaches noticed that too. A 14-yard run, but there is a flag down near midfield.
After the play was over, unsportsmanlike conduct, number 72 on the offense. The line to gain had been achieved. It was a dead ball foul. Nebraska will maintain possession of the ball, 1st and 10.
And a penalty on Zach Hannon. That's going to hurt their field position. They will keep the ball because he did pick up the first down, and it was a dead ball foul. But
right there, I mean, Fultz is that's usually an option for him, and if you decide to go, you better make sure you get the first down in that situation. But he had 3 blockers in front that are out there first to protect, then are able to change it into the run.
Look from the first replay that Hannon was just continuing to block very aggressively, perhaps too long after the play. Didn't see anything dirty, just engaged with his man and kept going. The ball's back on the 24. Armstrong, a deep ball, too deep for DeMornay Pearson-L. There's a flag down on the play. Thrown in the secondary, the 46-yard line of Wisconsin.
He's going to get held.
Holding. Defense number 8. 10 yards from the previous spot. Automatic first down.
A good penalty by Sojourn Shelton because he was beat deep. In that situation, you're going to go ahead and grab him. Right here, see how he presses his back pedal? He knows he's beat, so that's a smart thing to do in this situation at this time in the game. Go ahead and grab him without the safety help.
Don't you think Pearson-L, we've seen a couple of examples of it, needs to keep playing even when something like that happens? It looked like he stopped, and that's a couple of times today it looks like he stopped when he should have kept going.
Yeah, and again, that's a true freshman that will learn, and that'll be addressed vigorously in the meeting rooms.
A blitz, and again Abdullah does not pick up the blitz, and as a result Armstrong got splattered by Peniel Jean.
Well, he's getting exposed in pass protection, and you might have to get somebody in there if you're going to throw the ball, because he's going to be one-on-one with number 21 Peniel Jean coming off the edge. Just gives him a little shake and has a short corner, and you have athlete on athlete in that type of situation. Wisconsin's athlete beats Nebraska's athlete. You got to find somebody to protect the quarterback if you're going to do it, and you have to trust that running back.
Another blitz, this one picked up. Armstrong throws a deep ball, and will the flag come out? It will. On Sojourn Shelton again, running this time with Kenny Bell.
Well, that's 2 in a row. And if you're Sojourn, if you can't run with them, then help yourself with your pre-snap alignment and get off the ball. Also understand in this situation, get in your back pedal.
Pass interference. Defense number 8. 15 yards from the previous spot. Automatic first down.
If they're seeing tight coverage, they're going to attack you. And right here, see, he's slow out of his back pedal, and Kenny Bell presses him. You have to stay in your back pedal because understand the situation in the game. And in the clock, you have 1:10 left. They're going to try to attack you over the top, so get back. Deep is the deepest.
He did put the arm out and get a hold of Bell, but Bell did a good job of selling it as well, to the chagrin of the 80,000 here at venerable Camp Randall Stadium, 4th oldest in the country, back to 1917. Weak throw, incomplete. Mock cheer goes up from the crowd as there is no flag on Shelton, who had the coverage on Bell.
Well, Tommy Armstrong Jr. is yelling at the sidelines. Now, I don't know what he's yelling at because he has an opportunity to make a play and deliver the throw. And that time he was untouched, and it's just a poor throw. So if you're going to yell at anybody, find a mirror and start yelling in that to make that throw.
2nd and 10, 1:04 to go in the half. The only timeout for either team belongs to Nebraska. Huskers are their own 42. They bring another blitz, and Armstrong's in trouble. And swung down back at the 32-yard line. Joe Schobert first there.
So you got to make a substitution because this is 3 in a row. And Schobert's going to beat Amir Abdullah. Now he holds the ball a little bit long, but number 58's matched up right here. And this is the 3rd time that he's been beat on blitz protection. And it's delayed blitz. The ball's being held, but still you have to be a little stronger and a little stouter. If you can't do it, if your knee's bothering you, tell the coaches to get somebody else in there to pass protect.
3rd sack on this possession for the Wisconsin defense. They blitz again. It got picked up. Another bomb thrown by Armstrong, nowhere near Kenny Bell. Or Alonzo Moore, pardon me. Bell might be winded for all the running he's done. Well, Nebraska's within the touchdown despite the fact that Armstrong is 1 for 10 passing in the half, and they have a total of 115 yards of offense.
And 1 for 10 is equal 12 yards.
Well, some wondered if the Wisconsin defense was as good as its stats, number 1 in the country in total defense coming in, given the weak schedule that they played. They're living up to it today.
False start. Kicking team number 10. 5-yard penalty, still 4th down.
Joshua Kalu moving prematurely. Stay tuned for John Saunders, Mac Brown, Danny Cannell, the Capital One halftime report. Another big Saturday of college football, important scores. They'll have the highlights from all over the country. Is Mississippi State going to go down for the first time this season? Fultz. Nobody back there for Wisconsin. It takes a good bounce for the Badgers, and they'll down it will the Huskers at the 39-yard line. Josh Falkenberry, the snapper, down there to down it. 34-yard punt, so there are 6 seconds remaining in the half.
Yeah, if you throw a Hail Mary, you're looking at about a ball that needs to be up there about 65 yards in the air, and this is the wise play.
Well, just give it to Melvin Gordon, see if he can run 61 again. It's kind of an intermediate run for Melvin, who's going to come up 20 yards short of the record by Michael Bennett for rush yards in the first half for Wisconsin. But 2:38's a pretty good half. Nebraska will get the ball to begin the second half. Here's Todd.
The coach, you're able to run the ball successfully in the first half, but how do you get a little bit more balance in the offense?
Well, we got guys open. We just got to hit them. I don't know whether the cold's affected us a little bit. I don't know, but we've had some opportunities that we haven't taken advantage of.
What do you do to contain Melvin Gordon a little bit more in the second half?
Tackle better, and we had a couple guys who just got out of position, and you know, we started off good. We just got to get back to what was working for us early in the game and really just tackle better.
Okay, thanks, Coach.
Todd McShay getting his exercise in as he walks along with Coach Pelini, who echoed what you were saying, Chris. Not always assignment sound. That drives him crazy. Melvin Gordon and Wisconsin leading by 7 at the half. The Capital One halftime report comes your way right after these messages. Welcome back to ESPN on ABC. College football presented by Kay Jewelers. Heading for the second half here at Camp Randall Stadium in Madison, Wisconsin on a frigid day with a temperature in the mid-20s. Wisconsin has come from 17-3 down. The Badgers have a 7-point lead as we head to the second half. More of the same for Wisconsin. Melvin Gordon great. The defense outstanding. Put in some tough spots early by some turnovers. What does Nebraska have to do now to particularly get the offense going?
Well, in the offense, they have to hit the open receivers. Tommy Armstrong has to be more on target on time. The defense, here's what I would have done in the locker room, Sean. You get the adjustments made, right? Tackle better, get in the right spots. But beyond that, I would go to each and every guy and say, are you a Nebraska black shirt defender? Do you want to uphold the honor of being a black shirt, which is a fine tradition in Nebraska? Because right now, they're not. And I think you challenge these kids man-to-man on the field that nobody rushes for 238 yards on us.
Nebraska receives the second half kickoff, but Andrew Endicott's kick sails over the head of Kenny Bell. Here's Todd McShay.
Well, guys, I think another thing is the passing game for Nebraska. They've got to be a little bit more efficient in everything they do in the passing game, starting with pass protection. Now, I know Amir Abdullah is injured in that left knee, and clearly he's not the same in pass protection. You see here, he's getting a wide base. He's doing everything he can. He just doesn't have the leverage. So they've got to keep a tight end in or bring in a different back on certain passing downs. Then it comes down to the quarterback. I know he's not a great passer, but Tommy Armstrong has got to go back to his mechanics, and he's got to throw with his shoulders square and get his hips around when he's throwing on the run, or else things aren't going to get better in this area of the game.
Flag down before the snap for a false start.
Full start. Offense number 11. 5-yard penalty, still first down.
Sethan Carter, the tight end, who's back in action today after missing 4 games with a foot injury. Armstrong 1 out of 10 for 12 yards passing in the first half. He did run for 20 yards, but those came on 13 carries. Abdullah 61 yards rushing. A lot of that was very early. And Abdullah chopped down by Joe Schobert. And you see, Chris, as the game has gone along, Wisconsin getting more and more aggressive up near the line of scrimmage and attacking more.
And the reason why is because they're playing with great confidence, and there's no fear of the ball going over their head through the air. So that allows you to be more aggressive. It allows the players to be more aggressive. and it allows defensive coordinator Dave Aranda to call a more aggressive game.
Nebraska averages 210 yards passing per game. Just the 12 so far today, and here comes Wisconsin again showing blitz.
And they change. That's the audible to the audible.
And they blitz from the other side with Caputo. And Armstrong run down. And Dave Aranda said that to us yesterday. We haven't played a team that gets up to the line and then checks with the sideline. But when they change, we're going to change. And a lot of time, the change is just what we saw. Instead of pressuring from the one side, we're going to pressure from the other. That's just what they did there.
And Caputo's unaccounted for because he's the end man behind the play on the line of scrimmage, and he shows his great speed and taking great angles to bring Armstrong from behind.
Armstrong sets up a screen. Good call, well executed. Amir Abdullah, first down and much more. Great call by Tim Beck. Beautifully executed by the Nebraska offense, and it goes all the way to the 48-yard line.
Well, it starts with a good sell by Tommy Armstrong Jr. And you see the offensive line. You have 4 guys down there blocking. Kenny Bell, an outstanding receiver of the ball, but also a great blocker downfield. And you get the ball in the hands of your playmaker and let him make plays in space.
On 3rd and 13, they picked up 26. Pistol off in the stretch play out of this formation. Instead, it's a fake to the wrong side. Abdullah was on the other hip. Armstrong deep ball. It's like a punt, and it's picked off by Penyel Jean, who gets tracked down by DeMornay Pearsonell. Just the second career interception for Penyel Jean, a 5th-year senior. The other one was earlier this year against Illinois.
Well, you start hoping, and you start wishing, and you start guessing. Penyel Jean way back here. And when you do all those things, you hope, you wish, you guess, you don't execute. Because this is just a hope throw. Maybe my guy will get it, maybe he won't get it, and they weren't even on the same page because Bell stopped his route, hooked it up. Penyel Jean keeping his eyes on the quarterback. Back there fields the long throw like a punt. And again, another critical error, unforced error by Nebraska.
And a 14-yard return by Jean. Melvin Gordon, first carry of the second half, gets 9. Knocked down by Nate Gary. Second most yards in the first half rushing in Wisconsin history. Michael Bennett, 258 is the record. Already 4 rushes of 39 or more. Nebraska had given up only 3 of those all year long to enter the game. Rushes of 35 plus. Flag thrown. Gordon has a first down. The umpire threw that flag in the area where most often you get a holding call. Trevor Roach made the tackle for Nebraska.
Holding. Offense number 54. 10 yards from the previous spot. Repeat second down.
The right guard, Kyle Costigan.
Right here, number 54 on your screen. And this is again going to be that double team. And I think that's a bad call. I think he got a great push by the tackle, and he just had his hands inside and wheeled him off. Hands were inside, so a lot of times they let that go, but not there.
Second down and 11. Derek Watt, the fullback, good lead blocker, leading the way for Gordon. He advanced to the 20 before he got driven back, led by Trevor Roach. Zaire Anderson in on the play. Todd?
Melvin Gordon, when you start projecting him to the next level and looking at the skill set, the position-specific traits, first of all, competitiveness we talked about today, he's gotten better and better in this area. Cannot stand going down. The vision and patience, he really does a nice job working off of these blocks in the zone game. Agility, acceleration's always been outstanding. Power and balance has improved this year. I think the biggest area of improvement is in the passing game. He's blocking better, and he's got 11 catches coming into this game compared to 3 from the last 3 seasons.
You know, the only question mark I had would be the top end speed. Great acceleration, but I don't know how good he is after 40.
Stavy surrounded and dumped back at the 15-yard line. Malik Collins.
Well, here's a future star for you, number 7, Malik Collins.
I think he might be a star now.
Yeah.
First sack for Nebraska. They had a lot of pressure on Stavy early in the game.
Well, again, that's just the bull rush. And as I always say, and defensive linemen know this, that the low man wins. So anytime you can get pad level under that offensive guard, driving back into the quarterback, you're the winner, especially if you have the power of Malik Collins.
Wisconsin's had punt problems all year. Drew Meyer, not a good kick. Short, returnable. DeMornay Pearson-Els brought 2 back for touchdowns this year. Reverses his field and has some blockers to the far side. And goes out of bounds at the 38-yard line. Bo Pelini thought there was a late hit out of bounds. But he needs to be careful as he is right in the face of Trip Sutter, the head linesman.
Now, Bo has to get with a coach or a player who communicates best with Tommy Armstrong Jr. You settle him down. You say, make plays within the scheme. Don't force anything. And go out and play football.
Here's the end of the play. Let's see if Bo Pelini has a gripe. The tackle did continue all the way through the white part of the sideline. 37-yard punt, 14-yard return. A net of 23. Been a problem all year long for Wisconsin. Abdullah in trouble in the backfield, and the ball's knocked out by Vince Beagle. Wisconsin has it at the 42.
Leadership, intelligence, aware. Vince Beagle's going to secure the tackle on Amir Abdullah because he's unblocked. You see that right arm in there? Once he has him in his grasp, he has the knowledge and the understanding to rip it out.
And, you know, fumbling has been an issue for Abdullah throughout his career. I'd say it's probably his biggest weakness. You go back, he had 7 fumbles, 4 lost in 2011, 8 and 6 in 2012, lost all 5 last year. Now, he was doing a better job this year coming into the season, or coming into this game. 3 fumbles, only 1 loss, but you see there, ball security continues to be a big issue for Abdullah.
And well-coached defenses, Todd, will go in there and attack that, and they teach guys to rip the football, especially if they're second man in or you have them wrapped up.
Danielle Jean recovered, so he's had an interception and a fumble recovery. Stavy on the move into Nebraska territory. A first down to Alex Erickson. They'll mark it at the 45-yard line with Josh Mitchell in coverage.
You know, I've never seen a quarterback come back from the mental struggles that Joel Stavy had, Sean. And just getting out on the run, getting his shoulder square, and he's throwing darts. And a credit to him.
I've never seen a quarterback have the struggles he had early in the year. After he lost his starting job, he developed the yips. He just couldn't throw a spiral. He couldn't complete a simple 10-yard pass. They actually had to shut him down for a little while until he could get it back together. Tanner McAvoy in there to run. He gets nearly 7. Corey Cooper and Randy Gregory on the tackle. And you wonder if the Wisconsin coaches overthought this a little bit. We talked to Gary Anderson last year when he came from Utah State. He had a dual threat quarterback there. That's the style he wanted to run. But it's almost as if they forced McAvoy into the prominent role to the detriment of their team. Stavy is a proven winner, and he is the more popular of the 2 quarterbacks without question among his teammates.
Well, and the dual threat quarterback is who Wisconsin will be recruiting from now on.
Offense number 25. 5-yard penalty, still second down.
Melvin Gordon, take his scholarship away.
Take a meal away at least.
I don't know why you mess too much with the formula here. Gary Anderson did a terrific job at Utah State, and he's 16 and 6 here in 2 years. But this is a program that is thriving. It has for a long time now behind that big offensive line with great running backs and a quarterback who can manage the game and particularly make pass plays in the play-action pass game.
Yep.
And Stavy's proven he can do that.
And that's why they decided to go with it. But in the future, as Gordon gets the jet sweep.
And here he comes down the sideline. trying to prove to Chris Bibb that he can break away, and he's run down by Nate Gary at the 1-yard line.
Well, he doesn't have to prove it to me because he's showing it the acceleration again.
Well, the crowd thinks it was a touchdown. They're marking it at the 1. Let's take a look. I think it's a good call.
Yes, sir.
Knee down, the ball not across the goal line. 43-yard run. Will he score the touchdown? You bet he will. Career high for Melvin Gordon, 295 yards rushing on 20 carries. And now you start to look at the school record, which is 339 yards by the great Ron Dane as a freshman in 1996, November 30th of that year at Hawaii, ran for 339 yards. Rafael Gaglianone adds the extra point. 28 straight points for Wisconsin. And it was the jet sweep which was such a weapon for Gordon last year when he shared time with James White. Most of his damage done on that play, did plenty of damage on this drive as well.
Here's Melvin Gordon. Every defense is designed to have a contained player, a player that is responsible for kicking the ball back inside. Zaire Anderson gets caught inside. We have 2 players running to a blocker here. They're taking each other out of the play. These are the mental mistakes that Bo Pelini was talking about to Todd McShay going into halftime. And when you make mental mistakes and you do not execute and force that ball back into your pursuit, Melvin Gordon will make you pay because he has great vision and great acceleration.
Block to help spring him on that play by Sam Arneson. And Andrew Endicott kicks off. And Kenny Bell will not try to return it. Here's Robert back in the studio. Struggling against a bad team in Kansas. Be interesting to see, even if the Horned Frogs win, how that impacts their position. Right now in the top 4 in those college football playoff rankings.
I was shocked they were over Baylor head-to-head. I can't get over that. That's the main qualifier for me.
Gordon ran the jet effectively, and now Abdullah loses the ball again as they brought him across the formation. Second consecutive fumble for Amir Abdullah.
Going on the field, his ball was fumbled, recovered by Wisconsin. First and 10.
Marcus Trotter popped it out. It appeared that Jakwe Obashi recovered for Wisconsin.
Here making his case that he's down. See right here, Landish coming from the backside.
I think at the very least they might stop it in the replay booth and take a longer look. Tom Fiedler.
The ruling on the field was the ball was fumbled, recovered by Wisconsin. That ruling is under further review.
Well, the most important part of this game, Chris, it's impact on the race in the Big Ten West Division. The winner of this game is going to control its own destiny. With a lot of football left to be played, both of these teams have games remaining. 2 games left against Iowa and Minnesota, and neither one of those games will be easy for the Huskers and the Badgers. But secondary part, the opportunity for these 2 running backs to showcase their skills on national TV with an eye toward the Heisman. I think he might have a point. I think his knee looked like it was down before that ball came out. And Melvin Gordon obviously taking a huge step forward in that vein, and for Amir Abdullah, might be the end of the Heisman hopes today with the way this has turned.
It just hasn't gone his way, and he's a mentally tough kid, but you know, he's struggling. A lot of that's rust. I mean, he's a back that needs a lot of carries, needs to practice. He's had some time off, and and when you take that time off, sometimes you're not getting hit to contact because he's been loose with the football. And the other area where he struggled today was pass protection. I mean, that's been a big deal and an issue for Nebraska's offense.
Bo Pelini held him out for about a week during that bye week, but this week he made his way back into full practice by early in the week.
See, Marcus Trotter has his left hand in there, and I think he was down, Sean, from that angle. It might be too close to call a bang-bang play, but you know, once a guy fumbles the football, you get on those sidelines, all the guys get together and say he's loose with the ball, and everybody starts going for that football. I mean, that's a conscious effort made by a defensive coordinator, passed down through the leaders, passed down through the whole defensive team.
You really think just that little bit of time off with the bye week is enough to create rust and lead to these problems, or isn't it quite possibly might have had these problems anyway?
Well, I think there might be a little bit of rust, but you know, you make a good point because after playing a full half and taking shots, you kind of need to jump back into that.
The runner's knee was down before the ball came out. As a result, it'll be 2nd and 1 at the 34-yard line.
It's a huge call. It seemed to be the right call, but if that didn't go their way, it might have been ball game over if they give it back to Wisconsin inside the 30-yard line, already down by 14 points.
Now, Amir Abdullah needs to take a page from Melvin Gordon's playbook after he fumbled the second time, and he went off. Now he needs to get angry, and Amir needs to show the country what he can do.
And Gordon certainly hasn't been perfect today with those 2 lost fumbles, but he has certainly atoned for that and then some. Can Abdullah do the same? Averaging 3.9 per rush. For the season, he averages 6.7 per carry. But playing against the #1 team in the country in total defense in Wisconsin. Second down and 1. They put the ball back at the 34-yard line. Abdullah in trouble again and dumped for a loss. Vince Beagle, tremendous again today. Chris mentioned earlier the huge game he had last week against Purdue. And another tackle for a loss for the sophomore from Wisconsin Rapids.
Well, he manhandles number 84, Cotton. And the thing you love about Vince Beagle is he plays with leverage and he uses his hands. Never does an offensive blocker get into his body. And he lights it up.
Here comes a blitz. Armstrong dropped. Back at the 29-yard line by Joe Schobert.
Again, a nice blitz right there by Dave Aranda, and seemed to be reading the mail of Nebraska. They run a little bit of an angled stunt, and Joe Schobert once again is coming through unblocked. And one thing Wisconsin defenders have proved today was that they're good open field tacklers, and we have them in space, they don't miss.
Sam Foltz punts. Good kick. Kenzel Doe retreats. Makes the fair catch. Big day for the Wisconsin defense. They lead by 14.
ESPN College Football, presented by Kay Jewelers. Kay Jewelers, the #1 jewelry store in America. Every kiss begins with K. AT&T, mobilizing your world. And Merrill Edge, it's investing streamlined.
Well, last night here in Madison, the Wisconsin men's basketball team began their season. Beat Northern Kentucky 62-31 before the game raised a banner honoring last year's Final Four team. They're expected to have a good chance to go back. #3 in the country, just about everybody back off that great team, including the preseason All-American Frank Kaminsky. Melvin Gordon, here he goes again. Melvin Gordon run down inside the 10-yard line. Again, Nate Geary charged with trying to prevent the touchdown.
Well, you're watching total physical domination by the offensive line in number 34 Watt. When you can run up the middle or a basic handoff of a two-back system and not get touched until you get to the 2-yard line, that's physical domination by the Wisconsin offensive line. And right there you saw just the ability where he gets run down from behind. And that's the only knock that I have against Melvin Gordon. The only knock. Everything else is great.
68-yard run, and that's the single game Wisconsin record. 363 yards rushing for Gordon, and add to it, and add a touchdown. 369 breaks Ron Dane's record by 30 yards. It's the 4th 300-yard plus rushing game in Wisconsin history. It's also the most yards a player has rushed for in the country in FBS football this year. Gaglianone kicks the extra point. 38-17 Wisconsin. The Badgers have scored 35 unanswered points. College football action continues tonight on ABC from Miami. Doubtful that snow will be falling in South Florida tonight as Florida State takes on the Hurricanes. Great rivalry game. Obviously big national implications. Florida State trying to stay in that top 4. They've dropped down to number 3 despite the 25-game winning streak. Miami playing better, but Al Golden really in need of that big win that perhaps gets that program back and running toward where it used to be.
We'll see if Florida State can overcome the off-field distractions they had this week.
More of them. Kenny Bell brings back the Andrew Endicott kickoff to the 24.
Chris was just touching on the offensive line for Wisconsin. I just wanted to expand upon it. Rob Havenstein, first of all, doing a great job getting outside, sealing off the perimeter, and then it's the acceleration from Melvin Gordon. And here you're going to see in tight spaces, guards pulling, you've got the fullback working off the edge, and everyone's doing their job. Combo blocks we've seen today, the powers, the ISOs. Every time Gordon gets the ball, it seems like there's a crease to hit. And if you give him a crease, he's gone. This has been one of the most dominating offensive line performances I've seen live in a long, long time.
Yeah, they do a great job of swinging their hips into the hole too, Todd, and creating and walling off, not only with power, but with position.
5-yard penalty, still first down.
Another procedure penalty before they could even snap the ball. Second time Alex Lewis has been penalized. Well, Melvin Gordon has had 6 carries of 39 yards or more. Plenty of help from that offensive line. Now he has a chance to set the all-time record. He's already set the school record by 30 yards. He set the mark for most rushing yards in a game in FBS football this season. Armstrong gets the penalty yardage. And that mark didn't last long. Congratulations to Leon Allen of Western Kentucky, who ran for 345 against Army today. So he had this season's high mark for a little while.
A couple hours maybe. You run through 345 and that's not the best of the day, at least.
Not even the best of the day. Good pass. Brendan Riley hangs on. 38-yard line and a first down. Just the 3rd completion for Tommy Armstrong. Good for a 14-yard gain. Long way to go. More than 5 minutes left in the 3rd quarter. But Nebraska has to discover its offense, which has been stagnant throughout. If you just joined us, they scored 17 points in the first half off 2 fumbles by Wisconsin and a very short Wisconsin punt. Their longest scoring drive was 43 yards. Joe Schobert, like his fellow outside linebacker Vince Beagle, having a big day. dropped that play for no gain.
Well, he can give Vince Beagle a little assist right there because Vince Beagle took away the pitch and also forced Tommy Armstrong to cut back inside where Schobert gets him from behind on the pursuit.
Armstrong on the move. Not a very good throw. Forced Riley to try to dive for it, and he couldn't hang on.
There's no confidence right now for number 4. I mean, they've had open receivers and just cannot execute. And the frustration in Tommy Armstrong continues to grow. You see it in his face. You see it in his actions.
Amani Cross in now with the eye back. Probably in there to help pass protect with the struggles of Amir Abdullah today. They're not showing blitz this time. They do bring a blitz. And it's a deep throw for Jordan Westerkamp, who can't catch it. He hasn't had a catch today. Darius Hillary had the coverage. He's another one of those defenders who doesn't have a lot of stats for Wisconsin, and that's because the coaches say the other teams don't even try to throw at him. He's had a consistent and excellent year.
A good position and going up through the hands with perfect timing. That's a technique that we see more and more, not looking back for the ball, but going through the hands of the offensive player to knock the ball away.
Bolt's not a very good punt. Kenzel Doe. And he got hit after making a fair catch. Like Falkenberry thought that the ball might be coming out, so he went down to the ground and hit Doe, who didn't lose the ball and had signaled for a fair catch.
You see Bo Pelini again addressing every mistake, something that he doesn't want to be doing constantly throughout the game.
After the play was over, personal foul, unnecessary roughness. Kicking team, 15 yards from the end of the kick. First down.
Well, clearly a fair catch signal. Goes to the ground, never does lose the ball. Didn't really get belted by Falkenberry, but not supposed to hit him at all.
That's the rules. Everybody knows them. Whether you like them or not, you got to abide by them. Don't touch anybody on a fair catch. They're poison. Stay away.
He was the backup punt snapper at the start of the year. He's a true freshman walk-on from Colorado. Gabe Miller was their punt snapper. He injured his back, and Falkenberry got put in. Joel Stavi under center. Melvin Gordon. You hear the crowd groaning. One more tackle to break, and he might have been off to the races again.
Well, again, Sean, he's not getting touched. I mean, he's running into people, but those are his own guys.
I mean, think of the very beginning of this game, Chris. It was Randy Gregory and Malik Collins that were really giving this offensive line a problem. Not anymore. Nebraska defense barely getting a hand on Gordon, whether he's running inside or out. Came on the jet sweep motion. They give it to Kenzel Doe going the other way. And they whiff again. Horrible tackling. I'm a little afraid that Chris Spielman might want to put on a uniform and go down there and hit somebody, because nobody in a Nebraska uniform is doing it right now, to the disbelief of Bo Pelini.
Well, to the disbelief of myself, because nobody wraps up. When will we learn? When you have guys ducking their head and just throwing a shoulder, that's unacceptable. And to me, that's not college football. And Coach Pelini and John Papuchis are directly responsible for holding those guys accountable for making them wrap up. How many times have we seen Wisconsin ball carriers run through the body blows? Can't stand it.
Tanner McAvoy back in there after the fakes. Turns the corner for about 9. But what can those coaches do right now other than take the guys who are whiffing out of the game?
Take them out of the game. I mean, take them out of the game and say this is not acceptable anymore. You can't just come in and throw shoulders. Now, if you don't set a precedence where you hold them accountable in practice and in games, then you need to address it. And quite frankly, you need to go in and look at yourself, address your staff, and say, look, if you don't start wrapping up, you will not play on my defense. You will not wear a black shirt. You will not be a Cornhusker defender. That needs to be addressed because they got killed by guys just body blowing today, not using their arms.
Melvin Gordon again. Randy Gregory the tackle. He's been quiet since the start of the game. The ball marked at the 6-yard line. 1st and goal. He's now 25 yards away from tying LaDainian Tomlinson's record. There's still more than a quarter to be played. Gordon. Yeah. Flag down. And again, the kind of effort and tackling that makes a football fan want to look away. And it's just not characteristic of Cornhusker defense.
Offense number 54. 10 yards from the previous spot. Repeat first down.
They catch a break on the holding call against Kyle Costigan.
His 2nd of the game on a running play. .54 Kyle, very good player. Again, hands are inside, and he throws them down, and you know that's not holding. In
shove Collins to the ground.
No.
Look,
his hands are inside, and he throws him to the ground. Now, he's not grabbing any jersey. He's not grabbing cloth.
The crowd saw the replay. Gary Anderson did as well, and that's why he's agitated.
He should be.
McAvoy back in at quarterback. He keeps again. Took his own man to tackle him.
No, I haven't seen this type of performance since I went to the 2012 Big Ten championship game, and it's a repeat offense. It really is.
If you're looking on the bright side, if you're a Nebraska fan, at least for now it's an improvement. Wisconsin got 70 points that night.
Yeah, okay.
They have just 38. There's still an entire quarter plus to go. Crowd chanting Melvin, Melvin. He's lined up wide. Here he comes on the jet sweep action. McAvoy keeps it. Touchdown. And even when Gordon doesn't carry the ball, he impacts the play because they paid a lot of attention to him, and McAvoy went in untouched.
Not only Melvin Gordon, Sean, Clement, Corey Clement, also number 6, is a person that you have to account for. And you do yourself well if you're Wisconsin, if you follow 49 for Wisconsin, the tight end, outstanding Sam Arneson. A couple lead blocks led to touchdowns today. Just a great effort all around by this offense. Dominating performance.
11-yard touchdown run by McAvoy. Rafael Gaglianone the extra point. 42 unanswered points. Here's a look back to the last time these two teams met in that 2012 Big Ten championship game. Melvin Gordon scored from 56 yards out in their first possession of the game. He finished with 216 yards and a touchdown. Monty Ball also went over 200 yards. He had 202. James White added 109 and 4 touchdowns. Oakley said he's never going to be able to fully flush it. Brett Fieldham had been the coach. Hoisting the Big Ten championship trophy. They rushed for 539 that day, 4th highest total in school history for rushing in a game. And they might surpass it today with 486 already and 16 minutes still to go.
Gary Anderson should be proud of his defense and how they tackled, and he should be proud of his defensive coordinator, Dave Aranda. Outstanding game plan. And a sign of a good coach is you get your players to execute under pressure, which you teach them during the week. Well done, Wisconsin Badgers so far, and Dave Aranda.
Andrew Endicott, returnable kick. Mornay Pearson, El Khalidi with Kenny Bell. And he's chased out of bounds at the 23. Well, it all comes down to this. It's the NASCAR Sprint Cup final race. Kevin Harvick, Joey Logano, Ryan Newman, and Denny Hamlin all looking for their first championship. Only those 4 drivers still alive, and it's down to the one race tomorrow at 1 Eastern time. The Ford EcoBoost 400 at Miami, 1 Eastern on ESPN, and watch ESPN. Who do you like in that tomorrow?
Joey Logano and his team.
Armstrong's pass deflected and snatched out of the air by Jordan Westerkamp. First catch of the day for the sophomore. Their second leading receiver on the year. Started the day with 33. Now has 34. That's his 10th straight game of the catch, but it took a while into the final minute of the third quarter. Warren Herring tipped it. Snow starting to come down with a bit more vigor. And the exchange missed between Armstrong and Abdullah. Marcus Trotter recovers for Wisconsin. Well, that 2012 championship game was ugly. This is close.
And it's getting uglier because there's just a lack of timing, a lack of ball handling. Right there, Tommy Armstrong was expecting Amir to be closer to him. Amir took it really wide, and that's, again, lack of, when it snows, it pours. And it's pouring right now on Bo Pelini's Nebraska Cornhuskers. Every part of their game, special teams, offense, defense, bad. It's just bad today.
Hard to believe Nebraska had just about everything going its way early in this game. They have been thoroughly dominated since. Joel Stabby zips one incomplete. Broken up by Zaire Anderson. Josh Banderas also in coverage on Sam Arneson.
You know what the worst part for a player in this situation, in my opinion, at least it affected me, when you know that a team is going to line up and run the ball, and you know it, and you call defenses, and there's nothing that you can do that stops it. There's not a more helpless feeling in the world in that type of situation, related to sports, of course.
144 yards in the quarter. You see 238 at the half. Gordon again! Inside the 5, touchdown! What a performance by Melvin Gordon!
The burst and the acceleration. Right there, the vision, the cutback. Nobody can get an angle on him because his 0 to 60 acceleration is unmatched in a college game. And he just runs through arm tackles like they're not even there. Speaks for itself.
The thing that's hard to imagine is that they've thrown for 48 yards, Chris. So Nebraska's lining up. They know exactly what they're going to do. They're putting 8 in the box, and they're still not able to get guys in to get proper gaps, and they're not able to wrap up and make tackles.
Yeah, they're at a complete loss, and it's physical domination, Todd. And as I just mentioned, to me, as a player, when you know a team is pounding the football on you, and no matter what you call or what you do, there's nothing you can do to stop it. That's embarrassing for a football player. That's humiliating. And Melvin Gordon has made the most of his opportunity.
His record, single game record, as they help Randy Gregory up, surpasses by 2 to 406 yards, put up against UTEP in 1999 by the great LaDainian Tomlinson. Went on obviously to star in the NFL, as it certainly seems Melvin Gordon will. No one at this level of college football has run for as many yards as Melvin Gordon has today here at Camp Randall Stadium. One of the coldest days in stadium history. 408 yards, and he did it in only 3 quarters.
Take him out. Sit him down.
I don't think these fans want that. Then he vaults. Up the Heisman Trophy ladder. And it's fitting that he did it with another explosive run. "26 yards into the end zone and into the record books for Melvin Gordon." Well, a tradition at Camp Randall Stadium since 1998. The end of the third quarter, they jump around. The song of that name by House of Pain, and Melvin Gordon and his teammates jumping around as they never have before. For this stadium shaking, Chris. What a performance by Gordon. He did it in 3 quarters. The single game record, 408 yards rushing, held by one of the great running backs, LaDainian Tomlinson.
And the amazing thing there is the yards per carry at 16.3, which is an incredible number. Although he could go down if he finishes the year strong like he has, as the all-time NCAA leader in yards per carry, which says something about a running back.
In his last 2 games against Nebraska, he has run for 624 yards. No chance to return the kickoff from Andrew Endicott. Here's Robert. An entire fourth quarter remaining here. And if you're Nebraska, Chris, this is remarkably deflating. And yet in some ways it seems to me, and I'm sure to Nebraska fans out there, it's more of the same. You know, they've been winning those 9-10 games every year under Bo Pelini. But in the big games that they really need to take that step forward to win a championship, they haven't been able to respond, as Abdullah carries and was tackled by Vince Beagle.
Well, eventually they're going to have a statement game, and they have to make a statement that's not a bad statement, that's a good statement. And until they can become balanced and be able to throw the football, I'm afraid when you play good, talented teams, you're going to get more of the same until you develop balance on offense, which they have none.
Abdullah again. Derek Landish wrapped him up. 3rd down and 5.
They have the skill players out in space if you can get them the ball. The problem is right now the delivery system is not there. The consistency at quarterback that Nebraska needs has not been developed through Tommy Armstrong Jr. It's just not there yet. Not saying it can't get there, but it's certainly not there today.
Delivers short to Bell, and you didn't get the first down. It doesn't do it much good. The ball's out. And it went across the sideline before Wisconsin recovered. They're going to move the ball back to the forward progress spot, but it's short of the first down at the 32-yard line. So here's Fultz to punt. And that's not in any way, Chris, to diminish winning 9 games a year or more. The only other head coach in the country other than Bo Pelini who's done that each of the last 6 seasons is Nick Saban. It's not easily done. And it's better than mediocrity, but it's still not really championship level football.
You need a quarterback.
What this program is all about. Class C tweet from LaDainian Tomlinson, his record broken. Congrats on breaking the NCAA single game rushing record, which Tomlinson held for 15 years. He ran for 406 yards for TCU in 1999. And Gordon with 408, and he's not out there. Start the fourth quarter. We'll see if he re-enters the game at all. Corey Clement carries for a couple. Here's Robert back in the studio. You're not the only one, Robert, who questions that. We spoke with Bo Pelini about the rankings and how his team dropped 3 spots. Said he couldn't figure that out, but he also didn't understand how you could beat somebody head-to-head. Have a similar record and be ranked behind them as Baylor is regarding TCU. Here's this week's college football playoff rankings brought to you by Vizio. Mississippi State trailing, but has rallied back from 19-0 down. Robert just told you about the big one for Florida State tonight. A lot of people like Miami's chances in that game. So many close calls for Florida State. At least sluggish starts for the Seminoles.
They have to get something going on the ground, and Miami has a lot of confidence. Anytime you play those interstate battles, Sean, there's a lot of confidence because those kids play against each other in high school. They know each other. So they're not intimidated by the Florida State Seminoles if you're Miami.
Clement carries for no gain. He'll get his chance now. He's acknowledged he's frustrated, but that's part of the tradition here. He'll be the next in line of the great running backs. You need to wait your turn when there's talent ahead of you. And he also understands that Melvin Gordon is a Heisman candidate too. So
yeah, he's
when it comes to shove, you need to give him a little extra work than you might.
He's one of the few running backs whose arms are bigger than his shoulder pads. I've never seen that before in a running back. Wow.
Drew Meyer punts. And again, not a good one. Well, it's been a terrific day for Wisconsin. The punting remains subpar. 24-yard punt. And a timeout in Madison.
ESPN College Football, presented by K Jewelers. Brought to you by Pacific Life. For insurance, annuities, and investments, choose Pacific Life. The power to help you succeed. Nissan. Choose Nissan today for great offers on our most exciting lineup ever. Shop ChooseNissan.com. And Carhartt Rain Defender. For those who outwork them all.
It is 23 degrees. The snow is picked up in its intensity, and yet very few leaving Camp Randall Stadium. History made today by Melvin Gordon. 408 rushing yards in this game. The single game NCAA record at the highest level of college football. Mornay Pearson-L dropped at the Wisconsin 45 after a gain of 2. Tonight, ESPN College Football primetime. Auburn and Georgia. Presented by Hampton Hotels, 7:15 on ESPN, also live on Watch ESPN. Georgia can clinch the SEC East Division with a win tonight and the Missouri loss to Texas A&M.
Everybody's anxiously awaiting return of Todd Gurley.
Oh, errant pitch by Armstrong, and Terrell Nubia to get on it back at the 50.
It was errant from the beginning. Nobody knew where they were going. Just again, lack of execution, physical breakdowns, mental breakdowns, every kind of breakdown they've had. It's one of those days for Coach Pelini.
Not that this would be a signature win or the win that gets the program to what we're talking about, but it's the kind of win that helps you get there. Armstrong hit as he throws. The ball is loose, and for now at least it is ruled a fumble. Austin Hudson put the hit on. Third string safety getting some playing time, and they say it's Wisconsin ball. Looked like Michael Caputo came up with it.
Well, again, it's just the outside blitz coming inside, and the weakness of Amir Abdullah's game has been exposed on TV today. That's the 4th time that he's been beat in pass protection.
I think one thing we've seen all day long with Wisconsin is they've been opportunistic when there's been a chance. I mean, whether it's a running back being stood up, going in for the strip, flying to the football, and what they lack in elite athleticism in some places, they more than make up with in terms of technique and just outright hustle and effort.
And coaching. I mean, players do what they're coached to do, and they execute their fundamentals under pressure. They do not get rattled.
5th turnover for Nebraska. You wonder if They're going to challenge the call on the field that it was a fumble. Bo gesturing, he thinks it was a forward pass.
Nebraska would like to challenge the ruling of the previous play. Think it was an incomplete pass. Timeout.
I think he gets his hand on the ball before his arm is forward. Austin Hudson getting his opportunity. You love to see kids when they get their opportunity, they come in and make a play.
I would agree with you. I think the ruling on the field is going to stand. Hudson's a true freshman from Tampa, Florida. Probably didn't play too many high school games at Plant High School under these conditions. Not a lot of playing time. He's gotten into every game, just 13 tackles for the year.
Good special teams player for the Badgers. I'm surprised Stormy's hanging in there.
After further review, the ruling on the field is confirmed. As a result, Nebraska has lost their challenge and is charged a timeout.
Stormy, your turn for rebuttal.
I mean, you know, week 2, it rained for 4 quarters. I mentioned that it rained for 4 quarters. All of a sudden, I've got a new nickname. All I've done is hang like a man out here for a blizzard, basically.
See, that's the problem. You took a drizzle that lasted for 5 minutes.
McDonough. I'm just working you up.
Yes.
It's a beautiful day in Wisconsin.
Yes, it really is.
And even more beautiful when it's 74 degrees in the booth.
Well, we had a little power failure for a bit, and the heaters went off.
Oh, I'm sorry. We'll work on that.
Dare Ogunbowale, the number 3 running back. There goes Stormy.
Yeah, he's dressed like Ralphie from A Christmas Story, all bundled up. I'm surprised he can even move.
Week 2 of the year we were in Tulsa. It drizzled for about 5 minutes, and Todd described it as a torrential downpour, and a nickname was born. Stormy has stuck. It's very popular on Twitter, from what I'm told.
Well, it beats Todd.
That's right. Yes, there you go, pal.
We love you.
Yeah, you'll be happy to know the heaters are back on here in the booth. It's quite toasty. Stabby, the quarterback. Ogunbowale, who was defensive back earlier in the year and moved over to running back when they had some injuries. Thinned out the running back core. You don't need much depth behind Melvin Gordon and Corey Clement.
You know, Todd made a point when we were watching film. I thought it was a great point. If you're a great running back in high school football and you want to get your touches, why would you not come to Wisconsin? I mean, this is what they do. They know who they are. Now, Gary Anderson is slowly moving to a spread, but I promise you they will keep elements of their identity of a power running football team as they progress and kind of transition into a little bit of a spread offense. And, of course, they'll run this, which is the power OE.
Ogunbowale, redshirt sophomore from Milwaukee, has a first down. Jonathan Rose made the tackle for Nebraska. Our Pacific Life game summary. Why are we focusing on this man? What did he do? Melvin Gordon, 25 carries, 408 yards, the single game record at the highest level of college football, 4 touchdowns. Going to add to his scoring average as well. Came in averaging 14 points per game, which was second in the nation behind Western Michigan's Jardion Franklin.
And 18 points a game here at Camp Randall.
There's Heismanology. Joe Tessitore each week does a poll of those of us at ESPN who have a Heisman Trophy ballot. And in recent weeks, Marcus Mariota has really been pulling away. But I would imagine after you set the all-time record for rush yards in a game, you're going to make a major move this week if you're Melvin Gordon.
Yeah, I think so. I think Dak Prescott will have, again, 2 picks today, and if they lose, that'll drop him down. Interesting, Scott Frost, the offensive coordinator at Oregon, called Marcus Mariota the best football player that he's ever seen. Best quarterback.
That's from a guy who won a national championship as a quarterback at Nebraska, played against a lot of great college players, then played a long time in the NFL as well. having spoken with Scott Frost so many times over the years about Mariota, he absolutely loves the young man's character and every aspect of him as a teammate. And these coaches here at Wisconsin say the same thing about Melvin Gordon. When we talked to Gary Anderson yesterday, so it's not just the football part, but this is a young man who does it right off the field as well. Very unselfish teammate. And he came back to get better, as you said earlier, and Todd did, to work on the pass catching, pass blocking in general. And as it turns out, he also came back to make history. Ogunbowale carries inside the 10-yard line. David Santos the stop for Nebraska.
We have not seen a running back drafted in the first round in the last 2 years. And it's going to be interesting with this year's class if some of the underclassmen come out. Todd Gurley obviously coming back this week for Georgia. We see two really good ones here with Abdullah and Gordon. I wonder, it's not the position you want to spend first-round money on in the NFL, but with explosiveness like Gordon has shown and with the more complete game that he's brought to the table this year, it wouldn't surprise me if both Gurley and Gordon wound up going in the first round.
Yeah, but not below 25. There's no way you take a running back below 25.
Ogunbowale got clotheslined and still scored. Talking about Gordon as a teammate, very happy for the third string running back who hasn't had much action. There's his first career touchdown.
That's what sets him apart, rooting for his buddy. And I was out of practice Thursday, Sean, for one specific reason. I know all the skill sets, but how does he practice? And he practices with purpose and intent to get better. Celebrate his teammates. I love that.
Leononi, the extra point. Well, they haven't scored 70 against Nebraska today, but the margin is greater than it was in 2012. Here's a look at today's good hands play brought to you by Allstate. He doesn't just do it with his legs. Stiff arm delivered by Melvin Gordon. Get away from Corey Cooper.
Mentioned that there's nobody in college football that utilizes his stiff arm as effectively as number 25 does Melvin Gordon. Another part of his game that stands out.
Snow starting to cover the field now. Andrew Endicott kicks off. Still 5.5 to go. 56 unanswered points for Wisconsin. Alonzo Moore trying to bring back the kickoff. Got just across the 20.
More on the return.
Timeout. 5:28 to go here in snowy Madison. Find themselves in an epic face-off with Hydra that's on Marvel's Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. Tuesday at 8 Central on ABC. Riker Fife has come in at quarterback, sophomore from Grand Island, Nebraska. Terrell Newby, the ball carrier. Not a lot of life in the step of the Cornhuskers. Fife has seen limited action this year. Their own 9 passes completed, 4 of them. Not only has Melvin Gordon today set the single-game college football record for rushing yards with 408. But the Badgers as a team 568 yards rushing. Ogunbowale on the last drive carried 7 times. All 7 plays on the drive for 51 yards. So the 568 as a team today for Wisconsin is the second highest total in school history. And the only bigger game was actually earlier this year, back on September 20th here at Camp Randall against Bowling Green, when the Badgers ran for a school and Big Ten record 644 yards. They averaged 10.7 per carry as a team. The top 2 team rushing performances in a game by Wisconsin have both come this year. Newby, the ball carrier, so he'll come up short of the first down to be 4th down and 2. Well, ESPN Sports Center is projecting that Wisconsin will win this game. And therefore, at some risk, we update the standings.
Nebraska needs to get ready for next week because young Mr. Cobb and the Minnesota Golden Gopher power running game is coming to them, and they'll be tested. So whatever issues they've had on the ground, they need to get that fixed during this week in practice.
Probably didn't fully get the word because Wisconsin is 5-1 with the victory. Here comes the Fultz punt, and it stops in the snow inside the 1-yard line. And Josh Falkenberry, the snapper, hustling down there to down it. Although it looked like it had already come to a halt. 70-yard punt. So there are the updated standings, fully updated now. Both teams will be 8-2. And Nebraska's hopes of being in the college football playoff, which were slim started today, are totally extinguished now. And it's really more of the same. It's going to be another nice season, but unless Wisconsin stumbles down the stretch, be another year without a conference championship for Nebraska.
Well, and again, they have to get ready to go next week because they're going to get the same type of challenge because Minnesota can run the football. Their physical offensive line and whatever problems are fixed if the ball's fumbled. Picked up by Gary.
Do it, Chris. Finish the play-by-play. Come on, that was excellent. Go ahead.
Oh. Yeah, I guess that's about the easiest job I ever had, to be honest with you.
Now you know.
Yes.
The truth. And we mentioned earlier, this does bring Wisconsin and Iowa back into the Minnesota and Iowa back into the equation as well, because if Minnesota can pop off Wisconsin, then all of a sudden all those teams trying to win the West have 2 losses. So there's a lot of football left to be played. This also, perhaps, Chris, affects in a negative way Ohio State, which has been zooming up the college football playoff rankings. But I think they and their fans were hoping they'd get to the championship game against the 1-loss Nebraska team to give them a win that is more of a resume booster than it would be beating somebody that has 2 or perhaps even 3 losses. Terrell Newby, the touchdown for Nebraska. They take advantage of the turnover and end that 56-0 Wisconsin run on a 2-yard score.
Just living in Columbus, Sean, I mean, that was the big talk because everybody's trying to project ahead. Obviously, Ohio State has the inside track of winning the East, and they were talking about Virginia Tech knocking off number 21 Duke today, which would help Ohio State. And, of course, they were hoping for a 1-loss Nebraska team in the Big Ten championship game to build their resume for the committee in the selection process.
Minnesota loses today 4-2, Nebraska 4-2, Iowa 4-2. Nebraska has Minnesota at home and then at Iowa. Wisconsin is at Iowa and then has Minnesota here in the battle for Paul Bunyan's axe. Well, have you tuned in late? Where have you been? You missed history. Melvin Gordon didn't start out to be a great day. He had a couple of early fumbles. But that seemed, as you noted really at the time, Chris, to just inspire him to play with even that much more tenacity, focus. And the offensive line, as these replays show, opened up a lot of big holes for him to run through.
Yeah, and I want to give credit to a guy that doesn't get a lot of credit, is T.J. Woods, the offensive line coach, because when you can get players and experienced players to play together like that offensive line does for the Badgers, to open up the holes for Melvin Gordon to use his outstanding ability, that's a credit to TJ. And as a coach, that's what you want to see. And believe me, Sean, today, the 408 yards, those offensive linemen are going to celebrate that as much as Melvin Gordon. And Melvin Gordon will celebrate it with them because that's a testament to them. It's a team game. Now, obviously, Melvin is the one that gets the credit, deservedly so, but he will pass that credit along to that offensive line, which they deserve.
Kickoff is downed. And we saw LaDainian Tomlinson's tweet, now Monty Ball. Melvin holds the yards in a game record. Ron Dane, the all-time rushing record, and I hold the touchdown record. There's a great tradition of rushing the football and great running backs here.
Like we said, if you're a running back and you're getting recruited by Wisconsin and you want to get your touches and get noticed and get opportunities, why would you not come here to play? And they win. They win ball games.
Bart Houston is in at quarterback now. Wally wrestled down. Well, with the expanded Big Ten this year, the additions of Maryland and Rutgers, they did a nice job with the scheduling because they've saved within the division games for the very end. Wisconsin all alone now in first place in the West, but Iowa with 2 losses in conference, Minnesota with 2 losses, and Nebraska also has games remaining against those 2 teams.
You always wonder which Iowa team is going to show up. Sometimes Iowa's very good. Sometimes they're very average.
Well, they're 7-3 after their win today, but they do throw in the surprise every now and then, and not a pleasant one. We were there for their home loss to Iowa State, which is a real head scratcher, particularly as the season goes along. Well, Tuesday night, ESPN2, the selection committee will reveal the latest college football playoff rankings. Find out who's in. Top 25 ranking show is presented by Chick-fil-A. That's Tuesday, a little bit earlier than it has been the last few weeks. It's at 7 o'clock Tuesday night on ESPN2 and also on Watch ESPN.
Let's get a scouting report on Madison and what's the best time to deliver, Santa.
Minute and a half to go. Wale gets the first down. Almost hard to see the yard lines now. He's at the 36-yard line.
Just on that selection show, I'm a big proponent. I cannot reconcile in my mind putting somebody above somebody that you lose to head to head. I just don't understand that.
Well, unless there was great disparity in the records.
Yeah, thank you.
But in the case of TCU and Baylor,
yes, sir,
each one lost teams starting today. And the fans serenading Nebraska.
In Nebraska, you go back, you address the issues.
When we talk about the lack of the big win, Chris, Bo Pelini and Nebraska now in head-to-head games between 2 ranked teams. Nebraska ranked in the AP and their opponent ranked. They've lost 7 in a row.
That's a frustration point. And until they get consistent play from the quarterback position, that trend could continue because you have to be balanced on offense in today's day and age of college football. Unless you're Wisconsin, which only threw for 46 yards today.
Melvin Gordon still has enough left in the tank to jog across the field. Played 3 quarters, 408 yards rushing. A single game record for FBS football. That as a team officially 581 yards rushing for Wisconsin. You think about how much different their season might be, Chris. They threw away in many ways the opener against LSU, and their other blown conference loss was to Northwestern, and a big surprise when they committed 4 turnovers. Final score is Wisconsin 59, Nebraska 24. Tune in to ABC tonight, 8 Eastern. Saturday night football, Florida State taking on the Miami Hurricanes. Now for Stormy McShay, Chris Spielman, and our crew, Sean McDonough. So long from Madison.